The story's pretty quick. We'll have a little bit of conversation about it because I'm interested to hear what you think, right?
Yeah,
This is from...
I have mixed emotions. I've been thinking about this.
Yeah,
so.
I'm interested to hear what you think about it. Came as a news break update for me. Supreme Court bar exam will no longer be required to become an attorney in Washington State. The bar exam will no longer be required to become a lawyer in Washington. The state Supreme Court ruled in a pair of orders Friday. The court approved alternative ways to show competency and earn a law license after appointing a task force to examine the issue in 2020. The bar licensure task force found that the traditional exam disproportionately and unnecessarily blocks marginalized groups from becoming practicing attorneys and is at best minimally effective for ensuring competency, according to a news release from the Washington Administrative Office of the Courts. Washington is the second state to not require a bar exam following Oregon, which implemented the change at the start of the year. Other states, including Minnesota, Nevada, South Dakota, Utah, are examining alternative pathways to licensure. Now, remember, in California, you can, like, instead of going to law school, you can, because Kim Kardashian was doing that, that you can like do X amount of hours at a law firm and then take the bar exam instead of going to law school.
Yeah.
So it seems like this is kind of an extension of that. These recommendations come, quote, these recommendations come from a diverse body of lawyers in private and public practices, academics, and researchers who contributed immense insight, counterpoints, and research to get us where we are today. Washington Supreme Court Justice Raquel Montoya Lewis, who chaired the task force, said in a statement, with these alternative pathways, we recognize there are multiple ways to ensure a competent, licensed body of new attorneys who are desperately needed around the state. There will be a
experimental learning.
Experiential learning alternatives.
Experiential
Holy
learning.
Shit. To the bar exam.
That's a fancy name for saying on-the-job training.
Yeah, goddamn. Each for people following a different path of legal study. The specific scale and implementation plan for the pathways have yet to be developed. Law school graduates can complete a 6-month apprenticeship while being supervised and guided by a qualified attorney, along with finishing 3 courses. Law students can become a practice ready by completing 12 qualifying skills credits and 500 hours of work as a licensed legal intern. Upon completion of those requirements, they would submit a portfolio of that work to waive the bar exam. Typically, students will complete an internship between their 2nd and 3rd years of law school, gaining about 400 hours of experience, according to the task force report. Then, if they do about 3 hours a week of legal work through their final year of law school, students could have 500 hours of experience upon graduation, leaving the portfolio to complete before licensure. Lastly, law clerks can become lawyers without enrolling in law school by completing standardized educational materials and benchmarks under the guidance of a mentoring attorney, along with the 500 hours of work as a licensed legal.
So, let's do the math on this. 500 hours. 40 hours in a work week.
Yep.
Right? So 540 divide 12 and a half weeks. So,
like working weeks.
Yeah. So you're talking, like within half a year, you'd have enough time, essentially.
While going to school.
While going to school.
Yeah. While you're a law student. Because
that's interesting.
That says between their 2nd and 3rd years of law school, usually they do an internship between 2 and 3.
There you go.
400 hours.
That makes sense.
And then if they do 3 hours a week for that last year, then they'll get the 500.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's because I agree, it's not very much like in the realm of experience.
But when you're thrown in with the rest of it.
With the school at the same time. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think that it would make sense if you were talking about doing it afterwards to have a much higher threshold of hours. If you're not in school, it makes sense for you to be doing this all of the time,
Yeah.
But if you're in school full time and then you're doing this internship at the same time.
It's kind of like going to trade school and learning a trade versus spending time on the job learning the trade.
Yes.
At the end of the day, one's going to take a little longer because it's not as focused and you're going to be doing other things while you're just working this job.
Yeah.
Versus you go to a trade school and it's very technical and you're just doing the thing.
Right.
So that you gain the base level skills. So
right. And you have to submit, after you've done that, you have to submit a portfolio to, I would imagine, to the bar. And then they decide whether or not you can waive the bar exam if you have enough.
It is very interesting, the concept alone of just, because that's just the way lawyering has been for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like the threat of a lawyer being disbarred means you can't practice law anymore because you've done fucked up somewhere.
Right. They still set the standard of what is acceptable within the legal community.
I'm very curious. I have a lawyer buddy of mine. His name's Joel. Shout out Joel. He's a cool guy. I think he's like a patent attorney technically, but I'd be curious to get his take on the concept of the next generation of lawyers not having to take the bar exam.
Yeah.
And like, what would that do? How many more people would actually get into lawyering? What's that going to do to the, because you flood the zone with more lawyers, right? All of a sudden there's, you have to compete in the market. So everybody's prices probably have to fluctuate and probably go down because there's more lawyers available. You have to make yourself more marketable.
When people become public defenders, like they don't all go to the private sector.
Yeah,
that's a huge,
true.
there's, any number of ways that you can go. And even if you don't have like a practice, people get brought into companies to just be legal counsel. Like that's a thing, I think that it's super interesting. Brian says the bar is a money grab. They make it so hard to take the bar if you didn't go to law school. I think that's fair. I don't know that much about the experience or the pathway to like go to the bar exam or anything like that. To me, it's because of my history, right? My lived experience. I'm pretty much in favor of lowering credentialism like across the board. That's just my general take. So if there's a way to ensure that you're still going to do good work and you don't need to go to school to do that or like take a fucking test, I don't care.
Because the market will dictate whether or not you have a job in the future.
That's definitely where I'm at on the backside of it, is that like, you still have to be a good lawyer. If you suck, you still suck, and no one is going to fucking hire you. Like either that or you're a public attorney, and that's unfortunately kind of how that works anyway. If you can't afford a lawyer, you get the fucking bottom of the barrel, or maybe a good person who decides to be a public attorney. Like, but you might just get a dog shit lawyer because that's where they can get a job at. I don't know. I don't know what the threshold is for being a public defender, if you like have to be a good attorney or if they'll just take anybody. If you, I don't know. I don't know. Because I'm sure at the same time, I'm sure there are very good public defenders and there are also total dog shit public defenders.
Guarantee.
But it's the same deal as a private sector lawyer. There's some that are very, very good and some that are total fucking assholes.
Exactly.
So that's just kind of how people go. And to me, the bar thing, the bar exam has been around for a very long time. Like very, very long. If I remember correctly, it was around like during the founding of the country, that's people were still taking the bar exam when they're becoming lawyers. If I remember correctly, because like, John Adams was a lawyer, like a bunch of these early dudes were lawyers, so I'm pretty certain that they
1783.
So
wow.
There you go. So
Delaware
right
County. The first bar examination in what is now the United States was administered in oral form in Delaware, in the Delaware colony in 17, and that was just in America.
Right. So even if they weren't taking it, they're testing to that threshold, right? And to me, there were only about 9 fucking lawyers, on the planet at that time. Like, there's not that many people. There's not that many people who are competent enough to be lawyers, because you actually have to be a smart person at that time to be a lawyer. You can.
Yes.
And now we exist in a world where pretty much anybody can be anything if you can pass the test. You don't really have to be that smart. You don't necessarily have to be that smart. You don't necessarily have to be anything other than good enough at this thing to do this job.
Yeah.
So you could be a total fucking moron.
You just got to check the boxes. I did the thing, and I'm a good test taker. Boom, boom, boom.
Precisely. Done. At the time, it seems like the threshold was a little bit higher, right? So the bar exam was required, or that threshold was required to make sure that you're there. I kind of think we're at the point now where there are enough lawyers around that you can study under, that you don't necessarily need to go down that route to be a qualified attorney. If you have somebody who is a good attorney, they're like, I'm perfectly willing to allow you to be an intern here for the next 4 years. So you can get 2,000 hours of fucking working experience and then skip the bar exam. You know, that seems like it makes more sense to me if you're in practice, if you're actually in the courtroom during this time instead of just in the classroom.
Yeah. Learning how to build cases from experienced lawyers that have done it before. And that I don't.
If you still know the shit, I don't really care if you took the test or not.
See, it's weird because like I don't like credentialism.
Yeah.
It's the only reason like the racket of fucking law school exists is because
school in general, universities.
Oh yeah, 100%. But like these specialized ones where, okay, if you want to be a professional, you have to, if you want to be a professional lawyer, you have to go to law school. There's only so many law schools out there, but all the law schools essentially all are super fucking expensive because you're all going to be lawyers, and you have to go here. Everyone that wants to be a lawyer has to go through this funneling system. That just allows them to charge whatever the fuck they want, so they can give you a little piece of paper that says, okay, good, you did the thing, now you can go out and try to actually be a lawyer.
Yes.
So I'm very for taking down that system. I feel like that's a very good way to do that. I like on-the-job training way more than anything else. That's the way I've gained most of my life experience hasn't been in a formalized education system. It's always been learning from an experienced person or somebody doing the thing. The only thing I don't like about this is why they're doing it. Well, their stated reason why. The equity concept of, well, it's going to help marginalized people. I'm like, well, fuck off. Don't say, just tell me we don't have to do the bar exam anymore. How about that?
Right.
Don't put in there that it's for marginalized people.
Because it's a better generalized argument, I think, for most people, especially the working class, to say, listen, we're just trying to cut back credentialism. Like this, we don't need this. If we can prove that you still know the required materials and you still have the experience, then we're not going to create these barriers to entry to the legal field. It's unnecessary. It's like Brian's talking about, it's cost prohibitive. Like it's just a way for us to get more money from you when you could be out there practicing law, trying to help somebody's life.
Yeah.
Say that everybody is on board with that. That sounds good to everybody.
And
but if you're going to agree with you, you're now telling me it's because we want to make sure that all the minorities can be lawyers.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Stop with
doing
that.
This is not the way forward.
No, I'm on board with the concept. I don't like their reasoning for it, I guess. But I don't know.
I wonder if they really believe that or if they're just saying that.
Yeah, because it could just be like, well, this is how we can do it.
Right.
But then also given the fact that essentially it was California and Oregon doing similar-ish things, and go, I would imagine it's the same reasoning, because that's the only reason any of these states' governments do anything.
Yeah.
It has to. It's all DEI
right.
shit, dude.
You're so right.
It's the only reason they ever fucking do anything is because of marginalized people's oppression.
Almost definitely not the real answer.
Exactly.
It's why they have to tell you they're doing it.
It's like, we got this great idea, we can run it up, but there's one problem.
Awesome.
We have to say the words, because otherwise this isn't going to go anywhere.
Yes. I just sent you another, it's an Instagram thing. It was for the grab bag, but this is the perfect time for us to listen to this because we're talking about the credentialism thing. It's great. Brian said that Washington also had the law clerk hours thing before California did. I like it. I'm not mad. I think at the time, I don't remember. I would bet money that I was against it, partially because Kim Kardashian, and I was like, fuck this bitch, take the exam. But now that I'm a fully formed human being, I can give you my real opinion, which I don't, if you can show me that you can do the job, I don't care what fucking certificates you have.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter to me. Your score on the whatever, it's irrelevant to me. I just don't. I don't care about that. When I hire a lawyer, I'm not asking you what you got on the bar exam. That's not what my question is going to be for you. It's going to be, what is your track record with your fucking with your clients? Do you do a good job? I don't care.
Do you win your cases?
Yes. I don't care if you had D's all the way or C- all the way through school and then barely passed the bar exam. Are you a good lawyer now?
Yeah.
Were you just a shitty fucking student and hated being in school and hated all your teachers? I don't care about that. That doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
The question is now, what is the litmus test? And that's what the article said is that there's they're finalizing kind of exactly what the details are going to be, but the ref framework now is a certain amount of hours in an internship while you're going to school, and then you could submit this package to the bar to waive the bar exam. And so it's I think exactly what you're talking about, proving that you have the breadth of knowledge that will at least equivocate with the bar exam and then move forward. Is this good? They use that correctly?
Fire,
I like
dude. And there's similar systems in place for other licensed professionals groups in the state of Washington. So like
unions and stuff, like different labor unions, to be electricians and stuff. You can go to, there's like schools you can go to. You can also become an intern or like whatever the fuck they call it. It has a different name,
apprentice.
Right? Apprentice. Thank you.
Yeah. And there's a lot of the trades work anyway.
Right.
And it could be inside of a union or outside of a union. But even like surveying was a big deal. Like basically with enough on the job training and you take a couple tests, as long as they're like written tests, and as long as you pass those, you submit a package to the board of the state board, and they'll look at it, and then you have to go in, and they'll give you like a little oral thing, and then okay, you're now here's your license. Congratulations, you're a licensed professional now.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Yes, I really like that concept.
To the south of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready.